Hey, vinyl community. Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records, and I'm going to take a look at my recent acquisitions, album-wise. Stuff I've picked up in early November and the second half of October. I got several new albums and several albums I picked up on Discogs used. So I'll just kind of go through them right now. There may be some things that catch your interest. My birthday was in October, so I celebrated my birthday by buying three LPs from the Tedeschi Trucks band. I had their CDs, but only had one of their LPs, so I picked up three more. I showed one in my last video about recent acquisitions, and the other two came in after I did that one, and they were the Tedeschi Trucks band Let Me Get By from 2016. Nothing particular to show on it. It's on Fantasy Records. Very, very good album. And this one's going for a lot of money used, and a pretty penny if you buy it new. That's the Tedeschi Trucks band Everybody's Talking. It's a live album. And yes, they do the song Harry Nelson made famous but didn't write Everybody's Talking at Me. Can't hear a word they're saying. This is actually a 3-album record, and excellent live recording for them. I don't remember where they were recorded, where this was recorded, but this is from 2012. But that is a recent pressing, I believe. When I tried to enter it in my Discogs collection, I don't think they offered the newer pressing option, so I went with the 2012. Okay, and then of course I did a video recently after the passing of a couple of my favorite artists, Billy Joe Shaver and Jerry Jeff Walker. I had this on my want list for a long time. I finally pulled the trigger on a new copy of Billy Joe Shaver's 2014 album, Long in the Tooth. Very, very good album from, as I said, 2014. That's on Lightning Rod Records. You know, he lost 2 of his fingers in a sawmill accident on his strumming hand. So there's that. This was produced by Ray Kennedy, who works with Steve Earle a lot, and Gary Nicholson, that works with Delbert McClinton a lot. And it included, it's just plain black vinyl, nothing colored or anything like that. I guess the special feature in here, if I can get it to come out, here we go. There's I guess you would call them liner notes, but there's just this loose sheet in there written by Steve Earle about Billy Joe Shaver. And it just starts off, he said, if God ever woke up and decided that he was going to make himself a songwriter, it was on the morning of August 16th, 1939. The fact that it was a country songwriter that the Lord created on that day is, in my opinion, an accident of geography. Billy Joe Shaver, being born in Coruscant, Texas, and exposed almost exclusively to country music until he was nearly grown. And he goes on a couple more paragraphs, which I won't read. But a really, really good album. They did a good job. I think Willie helps them out on the first song on side 1, Hard to Be an Outlaw. Leon Russell plays on this album. It's just before his death. I don't remember what year Leon died, but 2014 he died, not that long after that. And another one I'm really excited about picking up is local artist here. He's from 4 Oaks, North Carolina, and I've only been able to see him as a solo act. Occasionally on Thursday nights before the pandemic, he played the Sports Zone here in Lillington on Thursday nights, and I had the opportunity to go out there 2 or 3 times and hear him, and he's just a wonderful, wonderful country singer. It's like a country music jukebox when he's doing that solo gig there, just at the bar of the restaurant. But he's got a full band, the Jonathan Parker Band, it's called, and they're very popular in this area, and they actually go out and play across the country some. So he's not just a local or regional artist. He goes into the Midwest, Illinois, Iowa, that area. I'm not sure exactly what his connection to that area is, but he has he'll go out and spend a couple of months playing gigs in the Midwest, and then come back home and continue to do his thing. But his name is Jonathan Parker, and this album is called Broken Hearts and Broken Bones. I've listened to it once, and I really, really like it. I may well do a review of this album to hopefully expose some folks to this. It's very, very good. If you like real country music, not the bro country and not this 21st century country pop or anything like this, but good country music with a steel guitar. This is stuff you probably like. Thank you. The only record I didn't buy online was one at the antique shop where I have a table of records set out for sale. They do once or twice a month, they do a flea market type deal where vendors set up on Saturdays to sell their wares, and occasionally a record seller will come in. And this last time, last weekend, it was someone I didn't know in advance, but I went in and wanted to show my support because fellow record lovers need to stick together. Plus, I'm not threatened by having once or twice a month record sellers set up outside, because all that does is word gets out and people come in and they buy from them, and hopefully they'll go in and say, oh, here's some more records inside here, and maybe they'll buy some from me too. Not that I'm making any money off of it, but I'm not losing money, so it's fun. But I felt a certain obligation to purchase something from this seller after talking to him for a while, and so I ended up getting this George Harrison album. I told somebody the other day this was my anti-McCarthy statement. Paul McCartney, excuse me. Paul McCartney gets all the love, it seems, he and John Lennon, and I always kind of liked Harrison a little bit better, and it's got the brochure in here and all that sort of stuff. I gave him $8 for it. It's in really good condition. Hadn't had a chance to listen to it yet because I always clean my records before I play them, even if they're new and even if the seller I buy them from has cleaned them. I just like to know that they've gotten up to my standards of cleaning. But as soon as I get some more new records in or used records, I'll clean those up. And then I mentioned Jerry Jeff Walker passed away, along with Billy Joe Schaefer, and so I have all Jerry Jeff's records from the Austin days, but I don't have all the early records, late 60s or 1970 or so, 71. So I went out searching for those after his death and said, I can't keep putting this off. Go ahead and get it. I ended up buying records whose covers were in really bad condition, but the vinyl hopefully is in pretty good. And this is Drifting Way of Life from 1969, and it played very good. This is what I was expecting it to play. You can see it's got a lot of destruction on the cover, but I'm buying it for the music, not for the cover, so that's all right. I didn't pay a whole lot for it. And then from 1968, the year before, was Jerry Jeff Walker, Mr. Bojangles. First time Mr. Bojangles was recorded, and I'm assuming this is what the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band heard when they decided to cover that song. This is on Atco, as the other one was too. No, the other one was on Vanguard. This was on Atco. records from 1968, and it's, as we said, has Mr. Bojangles on it. That's the back side. Cover's not in good shape. Got water damage here, but as I said, I only paid, $5 or $6 for these records. If they had jackets had been in, really good condition, I probably would have had to pay 15 or more bucks for a record if I could have found it, if not more. Okay. When I got one of the Jerry Jeff Walkers, I ended up also buying from that person because you could buy more than one record and not have to pay additional shipping. Eric von Schmidt, second right, third row. And I will say, side one on this record is really good, a very good acoustic blues, more or less, album on side one. Side two's not nearly as good to me after one listen. Now, I listened to it a second, third time, I may have a different opinion. But I thought side one was significantly better. He got away from the acoustic blues and was just doing I don't know, it was just a little different. Okay, and from another person that I got one of the Jerry Jeff Walker albums. Again, you can usually buy multiple copies and not have to pay extra shipping. I look for that when I buy on Discogs, and so I bought 6 or 7 records from this one particular seller. And in fact, he threw, I think, about 5 more records, and he threw one in the deal. I got the band's album, Islands. Not their best album by any means, but I really like the band, so I was able to get that for a low price. I wanted to go ahead and get that. Taj Mahal, Oh So Good and Blue. Love Taj Mahal. I'll show that one after she's up. Leon Russell. This is one of Leon's. I have almost all of Leon Russell's album, but I didn't have a good copy of Americana, so I got that. And probably my favorite all-time artist is Doc Watson. This is an album I didn't have. Old Time Concert, Doc Watson, Clint Howard, and Fred Price. And this is one of those Vanguard 2-for albums. They put 2 albums in one package. You see these. I've got Ian and Sylvia like this. I've got a lot of artists from Vanguard with this setup. But so I was pleased to get that album. And just for the heck of it, as a appreciation for purchasing records from them, they threw in this Poco, and I've already gotten a copy of this Poco, but I'll play this one, and this one may actually play better than the one I've got. And Poco, a great California country rock band. Okay. Then from another dealer, I wanted to pick up some Kenny Baker, the fiddler, great fiddler who spent more time in Bill Monroe's Bluegrass Boys than any other fiddler. He had a lot of fiddlers over the years, but Kenny Baker was with him more than any other. And so I ordered these. All of these were sealed. First, I'll show you the ones that aren't Kenny Baker, and then I'll show you the 3 Kenny Bakers I got. Wade Maynard was an old-time musician in the 30s and 40s. Had a lot of musicians come through his group over time. One off the top of my head would be Clyde Moody, who went on to play with Bill Monroe. But this is a old Homestead Records album, and this is actually, as he over the years, he eventually moved to Michigan. Wade Maynard did. So this is one he made in his, maybe he was 60 something or 70 something when he made this. So this is a latter day recording of one of the artists that was big in the 30s and 40s. It's Rock of My Soul. And one of the great bluegrass gospel bands of all time is Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver. There's is Doyle Lawson. And I actually had the opportunity to interview Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver, specifically Doyle Lawson, when I was at Appalachian State University. They did a concert there, and I was the country music DJ, Saturday morning country music show, Mountaineer Country. I was one of the two DJs that did that show. And the folklore teacher, I was taking a folklore class at the time, he got me in to interview Doyle Lawson for the radio show. So I was very pleased. He was a very nice guy. And this one is called Heavenly Treasures. And here's another one. These are on Sugar Hill Records. Great acoustic record label. And then here's Rock My Soul from Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver. Interesting little tidbit. After when I interviewed Doyle Lawson, this would have been 1982 or 83. Soon after, he fired his whole band, Quicksilver, and replaced them. Why did he fire them? They had all accumulated DWIs. And so Doyle was having to do all the driving because none of them had their driver's license. So he fired them for good reason, I would say, and hired some people. And I'm assuming, musical skill was important, but having a valid driver's license may have been the deal breaker in hiring those guys. And finally, by the way, the last three I showed, Wade Maynard, the two Doyle Lawsons, and these next three, they were all sealed records. So technically, they're not used records. They are they were sealed records. I think I paid $6 or $7 a piece for these. County Records, one of the great record labels, along with Sugar Hill. Here is Kenny Baker and Joe Green, High Country. And this recording was done in 1968, I believe. This album it was recorded in High Point, North Carolina, November of 1967, released in 68, and then re-released on County, because County wasn't around in 68, I don't believe. So they re-released that. And then another County record. This is Farmyard Swing. One of the things about Kenny Baker is he was a great fiddler. As I said, he had a longer tenure, on and off tenure, with Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys than any other fiddler Bill Monroe ever had. There are, of course, different styles of violin and fiddle playing. Well, the Texas style, long bow, playing out more notes in a long bow style, wasn't something you would find in the Appalachian fiddlers. It's something unless they acquired it from the Texas style fiddlers. And Kenny Baker played in that Texas style at least part of the time. He was expert in that style. So Kenny Baker's real important. Now this one is from 1979. I think probably recorded around that time too. And then one more, Kenny Baker Highlights. Okay, so some great fiddle music. This one, I don't see a year on this one, but this would probably be in the early 80s, late 70s. So got some fiddle music, unopened when I unsealed, or still sealed when I bought them. Okay, so I'll try to keep this under 20 minutes. That's a look at the records I've acquired, some new acquisitions in the rock soul genre, some of them, some old time music, and some great fiddle music, among other things. I'll remind everybody, be kind to your neighbor, because we're all neighbors. Take care.